right, we got it. We finally got to get our greedy eyes on some film for ourselves. Bears, Dolphins, preseason game 1. So I'm going to cover it. I got a bunch of film. It's my first viewing. So I wanted to put some film in there to kind of capture some of my evaluations. I got some information I got pulled up that I can show you to kind of maybe validate some of my evaluations. Overall, there is some good things. There is some not so good things, but the whole thing is a little confusing in the sense there's a fog of war because they came out with their second string. We had pretty much our first string on both sides of the ball. They had their second string on defense and offense, and then went into their third and fourth. And even within that, there are things you can glean from the film, but it's not all linear. And so there is evaluation, there is opinions. So take whatever I'm saying with a little grain of salt. I'm going to try to do my best to give you information to show you I'm not reaching into the keister, but it is all just evaluations at this stage, and there's a huge amount of fog of war because we didn't see ones versus ones. So that's the whole deal. Guys, please like, subscribe, comment, and view. That's the deal. That's how the show gets going. That's how it stays going. Because without you, without my sponsor, without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so I'm going to open up with just a quick film. I thought this was enjoyable. Smythe dropping the football. Yeah, baby. Some things change and some things remain the same. And we stuck with them for years. Crazy stuff. But it was nice to see that he wasn't dropping it for us. I like that. I think maybe you do too. So I'm going to get into the defense first. I'm going to get into the film. I thought the secondary wasn't bad. I saw some stuff that I liked. There's some things that concern me. But the defense as a whole, it was going against, the backup quarterback, the Bears quarterback. I can't remember his name. It's not even worth it. Let me see his name. Hold on. Tyson Bagent. I don't even know who that is. Anyway, so they had their backup offensive line. And they had Bagent. No real starting receivers, maybe one or something. So we got to keep that in our mind. But there are things that were good. And I'm going to show you some of the film of it because there's certain things that translate: the physicality, effort, ability to get off blocks, be able to use your speed to get to places. For me, Gay, I thought, really did well. Grant, although he was moved a little bit in the run defense, more than I want, he was able to control a little bit, but he was getting some pressure against second strings, some ways to go. I thought Phillips did a phenomenal job. I thought for a young guy who's 20 years old, he had some very good plays. I was really high on his play. Storm Duck showed real physicality. You'll see that in the film. One of the guys I was a little concerned with was Hilton. He really struggled today. I thought I saw Omar Kelly talk about how he was behind, and he was. But a quick look, Jordan Brooks only played 3 snaps. We know he's going to be good. Kenneth Grant had a stop. He had 2 hurries, 1 batted ball, 3 tackles. Yeah, it's against lesser competition because he is a first-round pick. He's supposed to be a starter, but that's what you want to see. I thought KJ Britt showed up. Tanning Tindall had a decent game. Benito Jones had a decent game. Jack Jones was pretty good in coverage. Jordan Phillips, though, he had 2 stops, 2 tackles, and he was doubled. And he got beat on 1, but then came back in the goal line and made a critical stop. Storm Duck had 4 tackles, 2 stops. I really liked his play today. Marshall looked pretty good in coverage. The Boner did pretty good. He stood straight. So there's a bunch of things on defense that you can pull from this. Obviously, second-tier talent, but I want to show you some of the film. So here's the first clip, and you'll see right off the bat, get a little bit of pressure inside, which that was Grant. Bunch of guys in there. Grant got that interior pressure, which I liked a ton. Right here, Gay he just threw that running back away like a dirty tissue. That was nice. Then over here, I like this too. He's right in there. Bang! Dude, he stuck that back. And I like to see him blow his helmet off, but that was real nice. Then over here, you can see right there some decent by Jordan, but he did get moved out of the way. I'm not big on Butler. I think Butler needs to be cut. He just gets moved too much. They got a nice little run in here. That was one where one-on-one Phillips got moved a little bit, but I think he does better. You'll see here. Gets in there. He's got the double. Gets rolled a little bit, but he's got 2 guys, and one guy's grabbing his pants. It was nice physical play in there, but they get the run. But this is the really, really nice play. He gets doubled, and I thought he got blown out. I'm like, oh, man. And all of a sudden, he just shows up, and he comes and stops the touchdown. That was a phenomenal play, especially for a 20-year-old. Then over here, here's Duck, man. Look at Duck. Bang, he could tackle. The defense that we're looking to play, that's critical. He doesn't know when he just gets off the block. I thought he was a safety. I didn't see his number. I'm like, who's that safety? Duck is a big, big Duck. That was a very nice play. Now we'll get to the offense. Infetti got grief, but there was some worse guys on our offensive line. The great news is Paul had a dominant game. Yes, it wasn't against the Stars, but he dominated. And you could tell by the snap count, I'll get into that in a second. You could tell by the snap count how they were feeling about the play. Paul got 24 reps, no pressures. I thought he was pretty darn good in the run game. And then Jonah ended up getting 33, but he struggled. He had some good moments in pass blocking, but he did struggle in his run blocking. But it's still early. Keon Smith, he had 3 pressures, 2 hurries, and a sack, and 3 of them were on the true set pass grades. And you can kind of see that some of these guys got more true pass sets to kind of see what they're about. Keon Smith doesn't have enough junk in his trunk. He's not a guy that I like. I think we got to move on from. Not saying Infetti, not saying Borum. They tried to put Keon Smith at tackle and guard. It didn't really work. They even put Carmen Jackson at guard. I got to check to see how he did. Maybe he's better at guard. Brewer had a decent day. I thought Brunskill had a pretty good day too. Not a great one, but pretty good. They gave Brunskill 5 true pass sets for comparison. Patrick Paul had 2. Daniels had 2. He had a pretty decent day. Not great, but decent, but he's coming back from the AC, the Achilles injury. And Fetty had 5, which he struggled. Borum had 6. But he actually did pretty good in some of his true pass sets. So maybe I got to go back to the film and check. Jonah had 7, and he kind of struggled a little bit there. Keon Smith had 5, and he really struggled. So, this offensive line was going against the seconds. I feel really good about Paul. I feel usual about Brewer. I feel pretty good about Daniels. I feel good about Jonah, but he did struggle with power a little bit. There was one run play where he got driven back into the backfield. He had some nice pass blocks, and there was a couple decent run blocks, but there was a lot of the stuff that he needs to grow in. But we got to understand that's the way it's going to be. We just got to hope it catches up pretty quickly because it's going to be a problem come the season. But he was able to remain in front of the guys. I'll give you the film here so you can take a look at it yourself. Overall, I like the philosophy. I thought we were running inside. We got stopped by the seconds, but we kept at it. So there's good stuff to it, but we couldn't really score. I mean, I saw somebody say we were dominating on both sides of the ball. It's because it was first against seconds, and you got to keep that. Doesn't mean we suck, we're doomed, but it's a reality. So here, yes, I like this, the double combo right there by Savaianaya and Paul. They wrecked the guy. You get a nice little run inside. Really like that one. Paul and Savaianaya are alone, blocking on their own. It's almost like a true pass set. I think it is, actually. Paul does a good job riding his guy outside and stopping him. Jonah gets driven back a little bit, but he's able to hold it. I love the receivers on the day. Taj Washington and Malik Washington were excellent on the day. I was very excited about what I saw from them because a lot of the stuff they did translates. Nice run here. Jonah, kind of see him standing right there. He kind of got beat on the inside, but nice run by Achan to make something out of it. Paul did a good job sealing. These are things that Jonah can grow in, but he's going to have to. There's a pass, and you can see the true pass set here. 5 guys on 4. 5 guys on 5. That is nice. And remember, he doesn't have... Imagine if Hill or Waddle was on. It would look totally different. The receiver's covered. If Hill and Waddle were there with that kind of protection, 5 on 5, 5 blitzes and 5 blockers, man, it would get liquefied. Here's another one. Tua throws a nice out over here. I think that's Taj or Malik. I can't see him. Just doing it on the fly. But that was a nice little break by one of them. Then here, you see there's a run inside. Jonah kind of loses guy, but Brewer does a good job. Borum and Daniels wool it off. Nice run inside. Good blocking on that one. I enjoyed that one a ton. Here's another pass. And look at this again. And the pass inside. And that was a beautiful one. I think these guys are going to be very good for us. And here's the inside run. Nice job by Brewer getting his guy out. Savaianaya slowing things up. Actually, nice block by Farrell Brown. That kind of opens it up. That was one of his best blocks. Nice little run inside. And you see here on this one, we're goal line running it. And you can see right there, Savaianaya gets beat. And he's spinning around. Not great movement inside, but if Jonah had that, he may have been able to squirt between. There's a little breakdown of that. I got to look at the film again. And on this one is another one's a stop, but this was just an overload. I think the tight ends missed their blocks because there was one standing. I believe there's one standing on his own, but that was just a numbers game that they couldn't get. Jonah, though, does go on the ground after a double with Paul. Things he'll get. But that wasn't anybody's fault. It's just an overload. Beautiful blitz. Nice throw. And Westbrook. Nice little move there. That's another piece. We've got a good receiving core, guys. Here's a handoff. Boom. I think that is Hill who gets stole. Borum gets beat. Just a collapse. Hill and Borum are not guys. I just not big on him. But I got to check Hill to see if he did better. And over here to pass. You can see Jonah gets beat on the inside over here. There's a penalty that keeps it going. And then over here you can see number 71, Keon Smith, just gets yoked up, totally beaten. He doesn't have it. I don't know if he ever will. He's just not physical. He doesn't have the junk in the trunk. But we do get it in here. Nice job. You got Paul, Savaianaya, and then Hill does a nice block in here. And a nice fight by Madison to squirt through. Really good job by Hill. And good jobs by Jonah and Paul and a quick look. But excellent run by Madison. I know he fumbled twice, but that's some nice work. Tua coming back. Another pass. Nice catch by Malik. So when you look at it, the offensive line, it needs to get better. Jonah, you got to expect some time on him. You got to find somebody at that right tackle. Borum, maybe I got to go back and look, but there was some stuff in there I didn't like. He was going against a lower tier talent, so it's hard to evaluate that. I go back and dig deeper into him. But Paul was excellent. Second year, it looks really, really good, although it was against lower talent. But he dominated. Brewer, I thought, was solid. Daniels, I thought, brought some decent stuff. But Jones is going to have to step up a little bit with the power. And we need to get more consistent blocking at the tight end. And that right guard, Jackson will be back by week 1, people say. And there are people who are happy with that. I hope they're right. I'm not super happy, but I think he's better than Borum or Infetti or Keon Smith. I just got to hope he stands up. But this receiving group, I think it's a very good receiving group. And McDaniel was allowing them to really get true pass set blocking at times. The pass set blocking was there. The pass blocking was there. I think if you had Waddle and Hill on this thing, you wouldn't have seen the looks. We had 50% blitzes. You saw different leverage. I think they understood that Waddle and Hill wasn't there. But if you saw different leverage, maybe this run game would open up a little bit more than it was, because we saw a lot of tight leverage. And they were physical. They were knocking guys off routes. So overall, it's hard to say. I really want to see us do our number ones versus the Lions number ones to get a better picture of it. Overall, there's some good stuff. No real injuries today. I thought the special teams was very nice. I think that's something you could really grade well. So we'll see. We got a week of practice. We got joint practice with the Lions, and then we got the preseason game. So that will be very interesting, guys. So I think you just keep it with a grain of salt on both ends. The bad stuff, keep a grain of salt on it because it could get better. And then really on the overall thing, keep a grain of salt because we were playing our top players versus their second level players. So we'll see. A lot of stuff to go from here to there. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.